What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and I really didn't want to make this video. I was hoping that by pushing and delaying the making of this video, I would talk myself out of this idea that I like, and it hasn't happened yet. So I'm going to make this video. A lot of you guys are going to get upset with me for recommending this idea, but before we hop into that, why don't you hit the subscribe button before you get angry with me? Leave a like on this video to help me beat out the YouTube algorithm. But most importantly, guys, leave a comment. I've been getting a lot more comments on my videos, and I really appreciate it. That's why I started the YouTube channel, was to have a dialogue with Jets fans and stuff like that. And it feels really great. When I get a comment, I respond to every single one of my comments. So leave a comment, a like, hit the subscribe. It really helps us. Well, let's hop into today's video. I've tried making this video like 8, 9, 10 times, and I can never seem to word it in a way that I like and that I feel like putting out there. So if you're seeing this, hey, I finally got it right? But ultimately, the point of this video and the idea is I want to see more of Jermaine Johnson on the field. And I went through the thought experiment of how do we get more of Jermaine Johnson on the field? And so I started looking at every single edge rusher, every single interior defensive lineman. I started looking at their statistics, their pressure rates, their snap counts, their everything. Rush versus pass defense, the whole nine, assuming that I would get to the same answer as everybody else. You just move JFM inside. And I didn't. And the solution that I came up with is, okay, is it time for the New York Jets to possibly look at benching Carl Lawson? Is that the move? Now, before you pause the video and write your comments and go yell at me, let me explain what I mean by benching Carl Lawson. I don't mean giving him the Denzel Mims treatment where he doesn't even dress, he's not even traveling with no. That's not what I'm talking about. What I mean by benching Carl Lawson is Carl Lawson is getting about 50 to 60% of the edge rushing snaps right now, while Jermaine Johnson is in the 30s of the snaps. My thought is, what if we swapped those around? What if we used the de facto benching by giving a lion's share of the snaps to Jermaine Johnson and we take away snaps from Carl Lawson? Now, I'm not saying that we do this permanently or even long term, but I think Jermaine Johnson has earned the right to take those snaps away from Carl Lawson, and Carl Lawson not performing at the level that we all expected him to earns the right to maybe lose some of those snaps. Now let me back this up with some numbers, some statistics, some things that I've seen on there. Let's talk about Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson has played a total of 147 snaps on defense. He is the second highest snap count behind only Quinnen Williams on that defensive line. Of the 147 snaps that he's taken, 95 of them are pass rushing snaps. And of those 95, he was only able to create pressure on 11 of them. That is a pressure rate of 12%. Now, while that's not an abysmal pressure rate from an individual player, you get, 1 in every 10 snaps, he's getting pressure. I think the real thing that justifies my take here with Carl Lawson is that of those 11 pressures, 6 of them are what they call quarterback hits. And I went back and tried to watch a lot of the Carl Lawson snaps and to see where I could find these hits. And here's what I found and here's what I saw. Carl Lawson was getting his hits after the quarterback had already released the football. It wasn't like there was one example when I was looking for Carl Lawson's hit, whereas Quinnen Williams hit the quarterback in the middle of his throwing motion. So it's not a sack and it's not a hurry, it's a hit. Carl Lawson is getting to quarterbacks after the ball is released. So it almost seems like Carl Lawson is just like a yard too slow when it comes to getting to the quarterback in the pass rush. And so while he does technically, he is tied for the most amount of pressure on the team with Quinnen Williams, it seems like it's kind of an empty statistic. The real thing that I want to look at is sacks. and he only has 2 sacks. Now let's talk about Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson has played 83 snaps across 4 games. Less than half of them are pass rush snaps at 39, and he has a total of 3 pressures. That's a 7% pressure rate on the passing sets. Now, again, you might look at that and go, well, Carl Lawson is getting more pressure than Jermaine Johnson. Well, yeah, but in less than half of the snaps that Carl Lawson is taking, Jermaine Johnson has the same number of sacks. Carl Lawson has 2 sacks. Jermaine Johnson, in 39 snaps, has 2. Imagine what that would look like if we scaled that up to Carl Lawson's workload. It's a conversation that needs to be had. Here's another statistic. Carl Lawson is, as of right now, being a net negative player on run downs. The good thing is that he isn't taking very many. Of his 147 snaps, 48 of them are run stopping, like are run defensive snaps. But in those run defensive snaps, he only has 1 tackle, he has 1 assisted tackle, and he has 3 missed tackles. So he isn't effectively stopping runners or stopping the screen, or he's not effectively helping in the tackling and in the stopping of the ball moving forward. Where if we look at Jermaine Johnson in again, much fewer snaps, in 44 run defensive snaps, he has 9 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, 0 missed tackles, and all 9 of his tackles are considered stops. And a stop is anything that considers an offensive failure for that play. Jermaine Johnson, we knew coming out of the draft, was, in my opinion, was the best edge rusher in the class. But the thing that he really did the best out of everybody was that he was an elite run defender. And I think that he's shown us in his 39 pass rushing sets that he can also be an excellent pass rusher. And I think it's time for us to find him some snaps. Now, before you guys yell at me, he's like, why not just move Jonathan Franklin Myers inside? Jonathan Franklin Myers is quite possibly has been one of our best edge presences this year. He is consistently creating pressure and hurrying up the quarterback, being disruptive. He's also a net positive in the run game with 7 solo tackles, 3 assisted tackles, and 5 stops. And when you look at Sheldon Rankins, who right now is partnering Quinnen Williams on the inside, Sheldon Rankins is playing above the expectation that I think every single Jet fan expected from him. Sheldon Rankins has the 3rd highest snap count of any defensive lineman for the New York Jets. And in that total time, he has 4 total pressures, consisting of 2 sacks, 1 hit, and 1 hurry. But here's the thing where Sheldon Rankins is being incredibly effective. He has 12 solo tackles, 4 assisted tackles, 0 missed tackles. And of those 12 tackles that he has, 11 of them are considered stops. Jonathan Franklin Myers, when he got his contract, when he showed us what he was, and when he was having his best year, it was on the edge. And with how well Sheldon Rankins is playing, I don't want to fix something that isn't broke. And unfortunately, as much as we wish that Sheldon Rankins wasn't working up the middle, Sheldon Rankins, Quinnen Williams, and Jonathan Franklin Myers are doing their job. That leaves 1 player and 1 spot that isn't working at the level that we need it to, and that's Carl Lawson. So maybe it's time to bench Carl Lawson. Guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It felt dirty making this video because I love Carl Lawson, but I also love JJ. And with JJ being the edge of the future, it might be time to ramp up his usage, to give him some snaps, and to maybe see this pass rush finally become lethal. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And last but not least, go Jets.